On December 23, 1967, 19-year-old Lisa was finally on winter break from college. After a tough semester, she needed a break from her busy life in the city. Her grandmother's village, a quiet, small place deep in the countryside, was the perfect escape. There were only a few houses scattered in the village, and at its center was a 300-year-old temple that the villagers said was haunted. Lisa didn't believe in ghosts, but the mystery around the temple made her excited to visit. After a long, tiring journey of 19 hours, Lisa arrived at her grandmother's house. Her grandmother greeted her with open arms and a big smile. Lisa hugged her tightly, feeling safe and happy. "I'm so glad you're here," her grandmother said, noticing how tired Lisa looked. "I'm so sleepy, Grandma. I think I'll go to bed early tonight," Lisa replied, her voice heavy with exhaustion. "Not until you eat something," her grandmother insisted, leading her to the dining table. Lisa ate a delicious meal and enjoyed the warm, peaceful atmosphere. After dinner, Lisa stretched and said, "Good night, Grandma. I'm going to bed." "Good night, dear," her grandmother replied with a smile. Lisa headed up the stairs to her room on the second floor, but as she reached the top, she heard a strange sound coming from above. It was a soft whisper, too quiet to understand. She froze, looking around, but the hallway was empty. Probably just a cat, she thought, brushing it off. She went to her room and fell asleep almost immediately, too tired to think any more about it. But at midnight, Lisa woke up to the same sound. This time, the whisper seemed to be coming from right outside her door. She held her breath, feeling a chill run down her spine. The whisper got louder, and she thought she heard her own name. "Lisa, Lisa." Her heart began to race. She got out of bed slowly, tiptoeing to the door. She opened it a crack and peeked out into the dark hallway. It was empty, and the wind was blowing softly through the old windows. Gathering her courage, Lisa decided to check the hallway to make sure no one was there. She walked carefully, her breathing shaky. She reached the end of the hall and looked around, but it was silent and empty. She felt a shiver and decided to go back to her room. She would tell her grandmother about the strange noise in the morning. As she passed her grandmother's room, Lisa suddenly felt nervous again. She opened the door, expecting to see her grandmother sleeping, but to her surprise, the bed was empty. The room looked untouched, as if no one had been there all night. Fear filled her as she called, "Grandma?" Her voice echoed in the empty room. Tears filled her eyes, and she started to cry, feeling a deep, cold emptiness. She backed away, her heart racing with worry. "Maybe she's in the kitchen," Lisa whispered to herself, trying to calm down. She ran downstairs, her footsteps echoing in the silence. But the kitchen was empty too. There was no sign of her grandmother anywhere. Now truly frightened, Lisa ran outside, hoping to find someone who could help. But the village was dark and quiet. The cold night air stung her skin. She looked over at the ancient temple in the distance, which loomed over the village in the moonlight. "Grandma," she shouted, her voice disappearing into the quiet night. She felt totally alone, with only darkness surrounding her. As she stood there, she had a creepy feeling that someone or something was watching her from the shadows of the old temple. Just then, she heard a voice from the house. "Lisa?" It was her grandmother's voice, sounding confused. Lisa turned around quickly and saw her grandmother standing at the doorway holding a towel. "Lisa, what are you doing outside? I just came from the washroom and heard you shouting." With a huge sigh of relief, Lisa ran to her grandmother, hugging her tightly and crying. Her grandmother patted her back and said softly, "It's okay, dear. I'm here now." Lisa felt safe again in her grandmother's arms, but a small part of her couldn't shake the feeling that something in that quiet village had been watching her that night. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.